Langebaan, a sleepy town cradled by rolling hills and the gentle curve of a turquoise lagoon, lived and breathed by the rhythm of the ocean. The waters sparkled like shattered diamonds in the sun, but the locals knew better than to trust the lagoon's deceptive calm. Beneath its serene surface lay secrets, dark ones, whispered from generation to generation. For centuries, fishermen spoke of a wicked water spirit named Naomi, a being neither fully woman nor beast, whose wrath could stir the tides and snatch the unwary. It was said that she was once a protector of the lagoon, but a betrayal long ago had turned her heart cold and vengeful. To outsiders, the tales were little more than folklore, the kind woven into the fabric of rural life. But to Langebaan's villagers, Naomi's presence was a truth as real as the salt on the wind. The villagers of Langebaan had their rituals. On the first full moon of every month, offerings were quietly slipped into the lagoon, handmade trinkets, fresh fish, or bright flowers. These offerings were meant to appease Naomi and ensure the lagoon remained generous with its bounty. Respect the waters, and they will respect you, the elders would warn. Children grew up fearing the stories of Naomi's shadow gliding beneath their fishing boats or her cold laughter echoing in the misty mornings. It was during one such morning, cloaked in fog, that Zinzi, the town's most daring fisherwoman, stood ankle-deep in the water. Her calloused hands tightened around her fishing net as she cast it out into the shimmering lagoon. The rest of the village had retreated, unwilling to risk angering Naomi after last night's storm. But Zinzi was no stranger to danger. She had learned to survive on her wits and strength alone. Losing her parents to a tragic accident when she was just a girl, she'd taken on the responsibility of raising her younger brother, Bongani. Fishing was their lifeline. As she pulled the net back, the catch was unusually light. Her heart sank. For weeks now, the lagoon had been yielding less and less, a troubling omen in a town so reliant on its waters. Zinzi, a voice called from the shoreline. She turned to see old Jabulani, Langebaan's herbalist and keeper of stories. His hunched frame was draped in a tattered shawl, and his gnarled walking stick sunk into the damp sand with each step. "You shouldn't be out here," he warned, his voice low and gravelly. "Not after what happened last night." Zinzi squinted at him, brushing a loose curl from her face. "What are you talking about?" Jabulani gestured toward the lagoon. "The storm wasn't natural. The spirit is restless. Something, or someone, has angered her." The first sign that something was wrong came with the sunrise. Zinzi returned to shore, her meager catch in hand, only to find the village gathered by the docks. Faces were grim, and whispers filled the salty air. "Where's Bongani?" asked Mama Themba, a stout woman with a soft spot for Zinzi's brother. Zinzi frowned, looking around. "He was home when I left this morning." "No, child," Mama Themba said, her voice trembling. "His boat is gone. He went out last night, into the storm." The words hit Zinzi like a wave, her knees nearly buckling. Bongani wouldn't have been so reckless. He knew the stories, the dangers. Yet, deep down, she remembered the argument they had the day before. He'd wanted to fish farther out, where he believed the waters were richer, and she had forbidden it. "Maybe he's still out there," Zinzi said, forcing strength into her voice. "I'll find him." "No, Zinzi." Jabulani's voice rang out, silencing the crowd. He stepped forward, his eyes sharp despite their milky haze. "You cannot defy Naomi. If the boy has trespassed where he shouldn't, she'll hold him." Zinzi glared at him. "Then I'll make her give him back." A murmur of disbelief rippled through the crowd. No one had ever dared to confront Naomi. "That spirit takes what she pleases," Jabulani warned. "But if you insist, you'll need more than courage. You'll need to understand her wrath." That night, Zinzi sat before a crackling fire in Jabulani's hut. The herbalist spoke in a low, rhythmic tone, weaving a tale as old as the lagoon itself. "Naomi wasn't always wicked," he began. "Long ago, she was the guardian of these waters, a spirit born from the tides. She watched over the fish, the coral, and the seaweed forests, ensuring balance. But the villagers grew greedy. They took more than they needed, desecrating her sanctuary. The worst was when they stole her pearls, jewels said to hold the essence of the lagoon." Zinzi leaned closer, her fists clenched. "And that's why she curses us." Jabulani nodded. "Her vengeance runs deep. She vowed that no one would prosper from the waters unless her pearls were returned. But they're lost, scattered to the depths of the lagoon." Zinzi's mind raced. If the pearls were the key to appeasing Naomi, she would have to find them. At dawn, Zinzi prepared for her journey. Armed with a small pouch of herbs from Jabulani to ward off lesser spirits and a harpoon for protection, she pushed her boat into the lagoon. The water was eerily still, and the usual chatter of seabirds was absent. As she rowed deeper, the lagoon seemed to shift around her, the horizon dissolving into a dreamlike haze. "Naomi," she called out, her voice steady despite her pounding heart. "I've come to speak with you." The water rippled, and a cold mist rose. Suddenly, a figure emerged. A woman with hair like flowing seaweed and eyes that glowed with an unnatural light. Her voice was a haunting melody. "Why do you disturb my realm, child?" "I've come for my brother," Zinzi said, "and to offer you peace." Naomi's laughter echoed, chilling the air. "Peace? After what your kind has done? Prove yourself, mortal. Find the pearls, and I may spare him." With a flick of her hand, Naomi vanished, leaving Zinzi alone in the vast, shimmering lagoon. The search for the pearls was grueling. Zinzi faced countless dangers, ghostly apparitions of drowned sailors, a whirlpool that threatened to swallow her, and illusions meant to confuse and disorient her. One night, as she rested on her boat, she dreamt of a woman's voice guiding her to an underwater cave. The next morning, she followed the vision and discovered the cave, its entrance glowing faintly. Inside, she found the first pearl, nestled within a bed of coral. The air seemed to hum as she picked it up, but a shadow loomed behind her. Naomi's voice echoed, "Two more remain." With the pearls in hand, Zinzi returned to the lagoon's heart. The waters churned violently, and Naomi rose, her form more monstrous than before. "You have what I seek," Naomi hissed, her voice a mixture of rage and sorrow. "I do," Zinzi replied, holding the pearls aloft. "But I need your word, my brother and the village's peace in exchange." Naomi's eyes narrowed. "Do you think you can bargain with me?" An intense battle followed, Zinzi using her wits and courage to fend off Naomi's attacks. In a desperate move, she threw the pearls into the lagoon. The waters calmed instantly, and Naomi let out a piercing cry. Naomi's glowing form hovered above the calm waters of the lagoon, her translucent figure shimmering like moonlight caught in a web. Her once monstrous visage had softened, though her eyes remained cold, a reminder of the pain and wrath she carried. "You have restored what was stolen," Naomi said, her voice echoing with a blend of sorrow and authority. "The pearls hold the spirit of this lagoon. Without them, the balance was broken, and my wrath was born. But you, Zinzi, have returned what was lost." Zinzi stood on trembling legs, the last of her strength nearly spent. Her clothes clung to her soaked body, and her hands, still clutching the empty net she had used to carry the pearls, shook uncontrollably. She glanced to the side, where her brother, Bongani, lay unconscious but breathing, sprawled on the damp wooden planks of her boat. "Release him," she said, her voice hoarse. "Release him, and end this curse on my people." Naomi tilted her head, her seaweed-like hair swaying in the gentle breeze. "You are bold, mortal. Bold and stubborn, traits that brought you here and that may yet save your kind." She paused, her gaze piercing Zinzi's. "But hear me now, this peace is not eternal. If your people betray these waters again, my wrath will return, and it will be unrelenting. There will be no forgiveness, no redemption." The lagoon glowed briefly as Naomi raised her hands, and Bongani stirred, coughing weakly. Zinzi dropped to her knees beside him, tears of relief streaming down her face. "Thank you," she whispered, though her gratitude was laced with the weight of Naomi's warning. The spirit nodded solemnly and began to fade, her spectral form dissolving into the lagoon. The water shimmered as if sighing in relief, and the stillness that followed was profound. When Zinzi rowed back to shore with Bongani, the villagers were waiting. They had gathered in tense silence, their faces lit by torches that flickered in the pre-dawn light. As Zinzi's boat touched the sand, cheers erupted. "She did it," cried Mama Themba, rushing forward with tears in her eyes. "She brought him back." The crowd surrounded Zinzi, their voices rising in praise and gratitude. Men clapped her on the back, women embraced her, and children looked up at her with wide, awe-filled eyes. But Zinzi barely heard them. Her gaze was distant, fixed on the lagoon's horizon. In the days that followed, the village celebrated Zinzi's bravery. Offerings were made to the lagoon, this time with reverence rather than fear. Jabulani led a ceremony, chanting ancient prayers of gratitude to Naomi and the waters she guarded. The lagoon itself seemed to reflect the renewed harmony. Fish returned in abundance, their scales flashing like silver coins in the sunlight. The storms that had plagued Langebaan grew less frequent, and the air felt lighter, as if the land itself had exhaled after holding its breath for centuries. Xinzi, however, found little comfort in the festivities. At night, when the village slept, she sat by the shore, staring out at the water. Naomi's warning replayed in her mind, her voice as cold and unyielding as the depths of the lagoon. Her dreams were no respite. In them, she saw Naomi's eyes, glowing, watchful, and unforgiving. She relived the eerie stillness of the lagoon's heart, the ghostly figures that had tried to drag her under, and the weight of the pearls in her hands. As years passed, the people of Langebaan honored the lagoon with new traditions. They fished responsibly, taking only what they needed and giving thanks for every catch. The old myths of Naomi were no longer whispered in fear but told as lessons of respect and harmony with nature. Xinzi, now a respected elder in the village, seldom spoke of her journey. When asked, she would only say, "Respect the waters, and they will respect you." Her eyes, however, carried a shadow that never left, a reminder of the fragile peace she had fought to restore. On certain nights, when the moon was full and the lagoon shimmered like molten silver, Xinzi thought she saw a figure gliding beneath the surface. Whether it was Naomi or her imagination, she didn't know. But she always bowed her head in quiet reverence, silently renewing her promise to never let the waters be betrayed again. Thank you for joining me on the journey of the wicked water spirit of Langebaan. Wave sparkles. If you enjoyed this story and want to experience more captivating African folktales, don't forget to like this video to show your support. Share it with your friends and family to spread the magic. Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. Your support helps keep these tales alive and inspires me to bring you more unforgettable adventures. Thank you for being part of this storytelling journey.